Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So today's topic is related to velocity, and this topic is one of my favorite topic because every time there are so many questions coming up related to velocity. And first of all, we need to understand why are we calculating this metric, right? So we need to be really sure why we are calculating and where all the places we are using it and what is the benefit we are getting out of it. Instead of that benefit, sometimes we think that velocity is for a different purpose and we are using it for a different reason. So this session, I hope it will clear those questions, and whatever we are trying to understand from velocity, we will be able to get it from here. So please start putting your questions on the chat box, and at the end of the session, we will be going through the Q&A. Okay, so the first topic on what is velocity is, velocity is an average value. So it is not a value that gets from one single instance of the sprint. It is an average value that helps, that is actually helping us to understand the overall how the pattern looks like in our execution. So how we will calculate this average value is getting calculated from the completed work of sprints. So this value we will calculate from the completed few sprints. So it is from the past. It is actually the value that we try to catch it from the history of information. So when we say that few completed sprints, what is that few means? Because few can be for someone it is 3, someone it is 5, someone it can be 1 also. So what is this few means? It depends on the maturity of the team and the way we handle the process in the team. Like, for example, let's take a new team where we are setting the process, where we are understanding what is the way of working that we need to do, and we are setting up the whole related things on development and what are the best practices, everything we are trying to learn and just starting the work. Okay. In that case, you cannot consider the sprint because that sprint is mainly for preparation, it is for planning. So there is, even though you see an outcome from the sprint, that outcome is not the one that we are expecting to see for the predictability in the future. So I will use the word predictability often, so that at the last slide, I think I don't want to explain what is predictability means. So
Selvi, one doubt, Selvi. So if we have any doubts during the course of the session, can we interrupt anytime, or should we wait for the end of the session, Selvi?
I request you to wait till the end of the session, Arun.
Okay, Selvi, sure. Thank you.
So we will be calculating this from few sprints. For example, 3 to 5, whatever the thing that the time that you feel you are actually ready to start measuring the outcome of your sprint, not the preparation outcome, the actual outcome of the sprint, which means when you start going through the product backlog items related to your deliverable of the product, that is the time you need to start measuring. But even when there are questions like, I don't have my complete team available. In certain new projects, what will happen? Instead of 8 people, actual bandwidth of the team, actual number of people in the team will be 8, but we cannot get all the 8 members on day one. That situation, what will happen? There will be 1 or 2 people who will be available in the team, and slowly people are joining. Is that a good time to start measuring? Okay, with 2 people, this is what the value is. 3 people, no, that is not the right thing. The whole purpose of velocity is for predicting the future things, how my whole roadmap is going to happen. For that predictability, this velocity is going to help us. In that case, we should have the same set of people who are driving to, who are going to drive the show. If we have only half the set of the people, or maybe 1 or 2 people, then it is not going to benefit us. So we should be very careful when we are starting. So how to get this understanding when to start? It is all about your team's nature, whether you should also check with your team. It's not only scrum master call or product owner call. It's as a team we need to finalize that. Guys, are we ready to start measuring our outcomes for the future velocity? Can we start measuring now, or you still need some more time? So that way we will be getting the alignment from the team, because team will be feeling, no, we are doing certain work, but we are not up to the mark that to establish the velocity picture. So can we hold on for some more time? So that is the way you will be getting into that alignment, whether you are really getting into the execution mode or still you are in the preparation mode. That clarity will give you the feeling whether you are ready to start the velocity calculation or not. So now, generally how we will be calculating the velocity. So velocity is calculated as an average value, right? So as we mentioned in the first slide itself, it's an average value. So whatever the completed sprints, I have actually 7 sprints completed in my team. That's my example I have taken. What happened in first 3 sprints? Actually, first 3 sprints, we were preparing the product backlog. We were doing infrastructure related stories. We were setting up our team. We were setting the process, ways of working. We are.
Selvi, sorry to cut you. I mean, are you changing the slide? I mean, we are still seeing the velocity slide, first slide.
Oh, is that? How about now?
Yeah, now it is.
Yes, Selvi, now it is visible. Thank you.
Okay. You are able to see the movement of the slides, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay, fine. So we are in the second slide. So,
presentation.
It is calculated as an average value. So how it will be calculating is it is getting calculated with the help of last 3 sprints or 5 sprints. As I said, that few completed sprints, this few is the key. Some people take 5 sprints, last 5 sprints. Some people take last 3 sprints. It is completely depend on the pattern that you see in your team. The more and more your team is familiar with the product, the more and more there is a bond between the team members and you have a well-established team, then you can take very less number of sprints. This is what the learning I have from my practical experience, because you will be able to see mostly the same kind of numbers. But when you are beginning, when you are at the very early stage, it is good to have at least 5 sprints, 6 sprints, because more and more the data you have, you will be able to get a very fine-tuned figure. The less number of sprints you take, there are chances you may come up with some kind of, because last 3 sprints may be a cakewalk kind of sprints for the team, because they are very well aware and the refinement happened very well, and everyone comfortably executed the sprint. In that way, the numbers may be very good. But in other case, if you take maybe the last 4th sprint, it was not so good because we had so many dependencies, we had so many challenges, so there was a change, right? So in that way, what we need to be very clear is how are we selecting this number of last 3 or 5? It should be completely depend on your team. It varies from project to project, and as I mentioned, from my practical scenario, one guidance what I can share is it is best for a new team to pick as many numbers you can, and at the same time for the team that is getting into with a good level of understanding and the product knowledge, reduce the number of sprints what you are using. And now as we have completed 7 sprints, as I mentioned, first 1 or 2 sprints what I have been used for is, it is for the preparation, it is for the infrastructure related things, just for setting the process, way of working, because it's a new team and team members are also joining. So 1 or 2 sprints, even though there were outcome, it is mostly a preparation or the planning sprint. We were strengthening our backlog, all those things were happening. But actually speaking, our execution started from 3rd sprint. Then what we will be doing, we will be keep considering from the 3rd sprint. And again, I'm mentioning it's not a Scrum Master call alone. Please check with your team, are we ready to take this velocity? Because sometimes what testers will have concern is, hey, like automation testing, we are also progressing. We need to set up some things. We need to set the framework, which is already available in our system, but we need to make some changes and make it available for here, which we are not going to consider it as an execution. We are going to consider it as a preparation. So it again depends on your team and the team members. So please check with your team member in your retrospective meeting, guys, are we ready to get into the execution mode, or still we need some more time for the planning? And if you are already set with the pattern and you actually started with the execution, that is the time you need to start considering for the velocity calculation of your sprint. Now in this case, I have considered last 3 sprints as my calculation mechanism. So how I have taken is like for sprint 7, sprint 6, sprint 5, what is the value my team has achieved, like what are the achieved story points by my team. What is achieved story points? There are two terms we need to remember here. One is committed story points and another one is achieved story points. What is committed story points? What are the sprint backlog items that you are committing, and that associated summation of those story points is nothing but your committed story points. For example, you have 5 stories. For example, I'm taking all the 5 stories are 3 story pointers. So 5 into 3 is 15. So in the sprint, you are committing as a team for 15 story points. That is your committed story points. At the end, out of the 15 story points, how much you are achieving? That is your achieved story points. So till the time you have not got into the level of calculating the velocity, do not use the word velocity anywhere. Please use the word achieved story points, because it has a huge difference, which I will be mentioning in the next slide. So in this case, velocity is the achieved story points in the last 3 sprints, that is 34, 36, and 32. Those 3 are the values which are achieved, divided by the total number of sprints that I have used is 3. That average value is 34. So average velocity here is 34. Okay. This is how we calculate the average velocity. Now consider for sprint 8, my average velocity, what I will be using as reference is 34. What will happen for sprint 9? Sprint 9, again, you will be calculating. This is another question we got in our daily calls also, like what will happen, whether I need to keep on changing the velocity. Yes, you should keep on changing the velocity. The reason being, every sprint, the achieved story points by the team is also going to be different. So you will be keep on getting a different velocity for every sprint. Now, as sprint 8, the reference value of average velocity is 34. For sprint 9, it should be sprint 8 achieved story points plus sprint 7 plus sprint 6 divided by 3. Okay, so in that case, we will get the reference. So every sprint, and you will have a new velocity that is getting generated. That will give you the guidance or the reference for the upcoming sprint. Okay, so this is for the velocity calculation. Now let's go to the velocity trend. So when we say about velocity trend, there are 2 things we need to consider. One is on achieved story points and another one is on velocity. So just a second. So there are 2 things we need to consider. One is achieved story points and another one is velocity, that we have already seen. But why I have added this as a graphical representation is, in achieved story points, you can see there are so many ups and downs. And yes, of course, that's how it happens. And at the same time, even velocity also has ups and downs. Just make a note of this. This is the reason why we are calculating this as average. I'm trying to correlate from each and every slide so that the next slide also will have the similar information. How achieved story points is different for every sprint. The reference for your sprints, that is the average velocity value, also will be keep differing. This is the reason we are every time calculating the average velocity, because even though it is history, we are calculating from the history. Achieved story points, for example, in sprint 4, we have achieved 40 story points, whereas in sprint 5, we were somewhere around 32 or 31. So this is how we are varying. So when we are using those values for velocity, you will definitely see ups and downs. That is the reason we always go for average calculation, not from one particular instance. What will happen if I take sprint 4 as the reference? My average velocity, in that case, it's not average. In that case, it's velocity, right? So in that case, what will happen? I will say my velocity is 40, which is wrong. I am trying to give a wrong information to my business, saying that with 40 as the velocity, if I move, I can reach by so and so time the complete product backlog, and I can reach the release in so and so time, which is a wrong information I am passing. But when I'm calculating the average velocity, it is getting down to somewhere 32 or 34, whereas 34 and 40, it has actually, you can imagine 5 story points is a huge thing for a sprint execution, right? So this is how it's very important that you calculate as average velocity. Now, let's keep these things aside and talk from the angle of a normal common scenario as an example. Okay. There are two things. I'll try to correlate all the things. I will also go to this and then I'll come to the example so that you will be able to easily connect it. So why velocity is calculated as an average? Okay, always velocity is calculated as an average. I already cleared that as part of the previous slide also, because from sprint to sprint, the achieved story points will differ, and it is only calculated from few completed sprints. So it's not like that we are going to keep on racking from beginning to the end. It is few set, that is 3 or 5, that we have already discussed on that. As every sprint nature also varies, because some sprint, as I mentioned, it may not have any dependency. Your clarity of information is 100%. You have every detail available in a very structured way. Whereas if you take some sprints, it's all like roller coaster kind of thing. You thought something, you never thought there is a dependency, but something came up on day 2, which took your complete execution into a different stage. So these all things are different from sprint to sprint. So that's the reason we are doing that value of average, so that it is not only we are just picking up from one sprint, it is all about we are picking up from a maximum of 5 sprints or 3 sprints according to the nature of our team. Now, what will happen for a new team? This already, I have put a picture, a person have not even started running. Okay, so here comes my different examples. So I think so far you would have understood what is velocity, why it is calculated as average velocity, because this is very important, because going forward, it is going to be easy. It is all about the application of this. But why we are doing all these things should be very clear. First of all, what is velocity, why it is calculated as average, and what will happen if we are not calculating as average and pick that as from one sprint, and what will happen if you are trying to get it from the whole set of sprints that what you have, and when to start calculating the velocity. All those things we have seen. Now let's come to a very simple example and then go to new team. I have a stamina of eating every day 5 chocolates. Okay, I like chocolates and I love to eat 5 chocolates. So one of my friend, she came to my house and she handed me a box of chocolate. I thought it will have 50, but to my surprise or shock, it has only 5. I asked her why you are giving me only 5. Then she said that no, I have seen you, whatever may be the situation, you will not have more than 5. This is what I have observed. Seriously, okay. So how you have observed? It cannot be from one day, right? Because last week when she would have given me, I would have taken 7 chocolates, because that day maybe I am very happy, or I'm so excited to eat chocolates or sweet. In other day, I would have taken only 2, because maybe I'm not so in a mood to eat chocolates. It would have been varied, right? But how she came into this conclusion, because she is my friend and she observes me a lot, and she would have seen me, okay, whenever there is a sweet or chocolate I'm handing over to Selvi, it will not go beyond 5. This is the thing that I have seen. That's why I have put this. Okay. Now there are 2 things. That particular day, I'm super excited to have sweets, but my friend, unfortunately, she handed over me only 5 chocolates. This is the disadvantage. And one advantage is at least she knows what is my level that I'll be able to manage with, and she had handed over to me, right? Now this is what all about capacity and velocity. 2 words. How she came to know about my pattern of chocolate or candies like? The reason is she's keep observing me for a period of time, not from last one instance or not only another instance. It's not like that. She is observing me for with so many instances, and she realized I will be eating 5 chocolates on an average, right? We use this word very commonly, right? On an average, I can manage this much work. On an average, I can walk this much distance. That is nothing but the average velocity is also here. So my average velocity is 5. So now the catch is, as I mentioned, my capacity on that particular day may be 7. I am, as I mentioned, that day maybe my friend's birthday, or she would have got promoted in her office, and We just want to celebrate. I just want to eat more sweets, but poor girl, she got only 5. Now I'm disappointed, right? So this 5 should not keep as a barrier for me, but at the same time, it is also a guidance for me. What is barrier and guidance? Barrier is I want to eat more, but unfortunately, only she is providing me 5. This is the problem. Another thing is, it's not good because if I start eating 6 or 7, I don't feel so comfortable. Maybe that I'm kind of like overeating because 5 is my level, but still I'm overeating. I may be able to eat, but it may not be a comfortable feel for me. That is also possible, right? So now my capacity on that day is 7. But if I start pushing with the help of this velocity, no, you can have only 5. No, I can have 7. Who said I cannot have 7? This is the problem we do in the sprint planning. What we will do? We use these 2 things. Capacity is what? What is your available time from your team members? Leaving their training plan, leave plan, vacation, all those things, you will be coming up with some capacity, right? So you have the capacity at your side. Now, what you will be doing, you have velocity also because you know how to calculate velocity. Obviously, everyone knows here how to calculate capacity also. So you have capacity and velocity. When we are doing the sprint planning, what we will be really focusing is, no, it is 7, 5 only, you cannot go more than that. Please do not do that. As I mentioned, that particular moment, your capacity may be 7. How can you judge that it is only 5? But what you can do, you can give a guidance with the help of, maybe you may get into some kind of problem if you eat more chocolates, more than 5. So please consider that. As a Scrum Master, you can do that. But do not push your team with the help of velocity on commitment. It is just a guidance and reference, not a measure to just take as such it is. If you have the capacity, you can very well go ahead with that. But as a Scrum Master, you should say, guys, I have seen this pattern with us. We cannot take more than 30 story points. Are you guys really aware of that? And you are sure that we are going with 34? You as a Scrum Master here going to predict your sprint execution with the help of this velocity. Right? If you don't have this velocity, what will happen? You will go just with capacity. Sometimes what will happen with capacity? Some people do that mistake of neck-to-neck calls, like 100% they will allot planning, which is also not right, because the hours that we are planning for the sprint execution may be always less with the whole hours what we have in hand, because every single minute we will not be able to utilize, because we may have other meetings from management side, and we need to attend some kind of webinars or something which is happening within your team, or knowledge sharing session, some innovation topic related things. So it's all part and parcel of your day-to-day activity, right? So you cannot just give up on all those things just because you made 100% commitment. So capacity is also a figure that should be treated very carefully, because you should not make neck-to-neck calls. That's point number 1. Point number 2, velocity should not be a barrier for you to plan your sprint items, which means your sprint backlog commitment is not dependent on velocity. Velocity is just a guiding figure for your sprint backlog commitment. That difference you should make before your team itself. If they start telling, no, we can work, no, it's something like what my friend told, no, you should not eat because I know that you can eat only 5. No, I am today happy, I want to eat 2 more. Same way, your team is ready because they are very clear, no, we can try this out this time. Do not demotivate by just giving this velocity explanation there. But when you feel that it's over, getting into too much of commitment, and you can sense that, because whether it's over committing stuff or it is just a try that your team is want to do. Otherwise, if you start putting this velocity as a barrier every time, your team will be always sticking to that, because they also can know that what is the velocity value, right? Even though they want to take, okay, anyway, my Scrum Master will say it's only 30. Why I need to think? Okay, that 30 will become a kind of like a boundary for them to not go out of that. That's not the way. Then that velocity line will be something like a straight line in the graph, which we don't expect, right? We want to see up and down. We want to see how it goes. So we need to be really careful whether what we are telling as guidance or reference and what we are using for actual commitment. So that difference, please try to make with respect to velocity and capacity. Now coming to new teams, people will start from day one itself. Okay, first sprint over, what is my velocity? You cannot see. As I mentioned, my friend last time, I had only 2 chocolates because that day I was not feeling well. I don't want to eat sweets. I just took only 2 chocolates. It doesn't mean that I can eat only 2, right? But if you go back last meet what I had with my friend on the month of November, I had 7 chocolates. That means I can even eat 7 also, I can eat even 2 also, it depends. So there is a fluctuation, right? This is how even sprint execution also. So even before your team start running, do not say that, hey, you can run only with this speed. How can you even judge on that? So please do not put any stamp on the execution of your sprint one saying that this is the velocity you will do. No, please wait for the execution that's going to happen for at least 2 to 3 sprints. Understand, study the pattern, and ask your team whether we can start the calculation or not. Do not jump directly into the conclusion and start calculating it. Please, whether it is a preparation, whether what are they doing on the product backlog items, whether your team has full strength or not, all those things should be considered before getting into that. So till that time, what I will do, okay, I don't have average velocity, what I will be doing, you just mention achieved story points is so and so. Do not use the word velocity till you really calculate velocity. For that velocity calculation, you need at least some sprints. For that, you need to have an average. So all these things are required. So till that time, only use achieved story points. So if I keep on doing that for 5-6 sprints, can I do that? There is somewhere a limit, right? So as a Scrum Master with your team, you should know when your team is actually getting settled down and when you are start working on the product backlog items and when you are really ready to execute and from which place we can really take care of the story points that are achieved for velocity calculation. That clarity you need to give to your stakeholders because they are willing to see how your team is going to perform in future, right? They cannot wait till that date to understand how the performance is going to happen. For them to predict this average velocity is going to help them. How it is going to help them? Now let's see a scenario. Okay, before that, the next topic is product backlog health. Is a very huge topic. So we will go to that and then come to the overall how we will be using this mechanism to see our future of the product. Okay. So last session, whomever attended, they will be fairly knowing this concept of product backlog. Here I have added some more examples with velocity into picture. So why, first of all, product backlog health is doing in velocity related discussion may be the another question. So now to conclude on whatever we have so far discussed, you all know thoroughly what is velocity, how to calculate average velocity, and when to start measuring this value, and what it will do as part of your sprint planning with respect to velocity and capacity. That again we will talk anyway. So you know now how to calculate average velocity. You have average velocity figure in your hand, right? That is only thing I need now. Now there is something called as backlog health. First of all, what is product backlog? Product backlog is a list of work items that are available in a list so that you will be able to achieve your product roadmap, right? And which is aligned with your product vision. Product owner will be keep creating n number of items and prioritizing it according to the product roadmap details, because product roadmap has release details. So those details will be also considered as part of your product backlog so that you will be able to come up with the priority of items. Now, what is health of the product backlog? Items are available, n number of work items are available. We do backlog refinement. What is that? When product owner is actually creating the user stories or any work item, product owner has some kind of expectation on that work item. So before a team starts working on that, they should be clearly knowing first what they are going to do, because then only they will be able to execute it well and give the expected outcome. If we are not doing this refinement, what is the challenge? A product owner may have some expectation. We don't know what he or she is expecting, and we will be doing some, because everyone's alignment may be different, right? We are, until and unless we are not aligned as a single team, everyone have their own views. So this backlog refinement meeting is some meeting where we all come together, and it's not the responsibility of product owner alone. Again, backlog refinement means it's product owner. No, it's team, because some technical stories you are discussing, some spike you are discussing, who will be better able to explain it? Until and unless it's not a functional related thing, any team member, right? Any team member should be who is aware of the technical information and the root cause of the issue. They will be better able to explain it and understand why we are doing that also. So backlog refinement is a meeting. It is a team's responsibility to share all the information and get complete clarity on the information. Now backlog refinement is happening. So what product owner will be doing from the top means priority also should be high. At the same time, the level of information available on those items are also good, which means not like half cooked items. It's like it has so many information so that it can go to the team for the next level. So that items we are picking. So when I say we are picking, what we will be doing, we will be discussing on what we are trying to do, on the acceptance criteria related information, on the testing scenarios, on the use cases, everything we are discussing. Okay, what is the outcome of this meeting? Outcome of the meeting is the story points for the story should be achieved, which means after refinement, the work item should get estimation values. When you will be able to give estimate? When you are clear with what you are doing. And when you know that any dependencies are there, any kind of issues are there, then you will not be able to estimate, right? With the dependencies, we cannot estimate. We don't know how complex it will go. So the end of the outcome of the meeting is we should get some story points for the work items. Okay. Now what is the relation with average velocity? Here is the catch. Always this product backlog should be healthy. Like health is wealth, right? Similar way for product backlog also, same concept. If we don't have much refined items, it is something like you have a house which doesn't have roof. It has 4 walls, but how can I just go and stay there because it doesn't have a roof? How it is going to help me out in my accommodation? It's not going to help, right? Similar way, even though there are n number of items in the backlog, until and unless we have not refined and got the story point, it is not going to help us. Whatever the story points that are available in the product backlog, after refinement, that will help us in the calculation of product backlog health. Okay, it is an indicator. Generally, we use percentage, and there are some kind of different legends also. You can use like more than so and so percentage. It's red, green, and all. I'll come to that topic. Okay, so now for calculation of this, we need 3 things. One is your average velocity. Now I no need to explain that. We know that. What is the expected story points? What is the expected story points? It's very simple calculation. If you are not using scaled agile framework, and if you are other than scaled, which means you are not using program increment, you can very well say that it is twice of your average velocity, which means if your average velocity is 20, your expected story points in the backlog should be 40. Simple, 2 things done. Third one, what is the available story points? What currently you have in your product backlog? Is that 40, which means after refinement, you will be keep on estimating your work items, right? So in that, what values you have? In product backlog, after refinement, what are the work items that has the story points? What is the sum of those values? 3 things you got. Now let's go to the calculation. So if you want to calculate in percentage, whatever the available story points you have divided by the expected story points. So if you have 20, then you have expected as 40. then it is just a matter of 0.5, right? 50%. So you have just 50% backlog health. So for this, where is the what is the root cause or the particular requirement which is helping us? The average velocity. Why we are using average velocity here? Because that is the way your team can move. That is the way you can expect your team will be progressing, because that is what you have studied from last 3 sprints or last 5 sprints. This is how your team is moving. So always it's good practice, it's to use twice of average velocity. So I put a kind of like catch point when you use program increment in SAFe, right? Why is that so? Means the program increment may have 3 sprints or 6 sprints in the model, whatever you use in your team. Accordingly, how much you are.
Sylvie, sorry to disturb. Can you again repeat what is expected story point and available story points, if you don't mind?
Sure. So you have average velocity value, right? Average velocity, if it is 20 story points, because velocity will be generally in story points, right? Twice of that average velocity is expected story points. Okay. Available story points is the story points that are available in the product backlog after refinement. Means you may have 100 items. Out of that, only 10 items you got already refined. When I say refined, what does that mean? You would have got a story point for as an estimation value for those work items. So 10 items got some 2 story points. Let's consider, for example. So you have 20 story points in your product backlog which are refined. Average velocity is 20. Now 20 into 2, that is twice of the average velocity, is 40. That is your expected. So available is 20, expected is 40, which means your backlog health is just 50%. Okay. So now you know how to calculate the product backlog health, right? Now let's go into some examples. What will happen with these values? What is the use of calculating this, right? So average velocity is 20. Expected user story points in product backlog is 40. With the same example what I have taken. But story points that are available in product backlog which are refined is just 18. Okay, so in this case 18 divided by 40 into 100, that is 45%. So according to my team, 45% is not a good number, because I feel at least 80% product backlog health is something that I need to always maintain. For example, 80 is also not that great. Okay, so I want to maintain in that case. So in this case, how you can improve this? Because you want to improve the numerator value 18, right? How you will improve that numerator value 18? You will do more and more refinement. So generally, when we put the question to a Scrum Master or some teams, hey, what is your pattern of backlog refinement? People very commonly say that every week 1 hour. Seriously, why no 2 hours? Why not 1 hour? Why it is actually like every week 1 hour? Why that pattern? It cannot be a general thing, right? You should know why we are giving 1 hour and why certain weeks we can skip the backlog refinement, or why we need some extra backlog refinement. This product backlog indicator will help you. This health indicator will help you. How so? Now 45% is a very minimum value. My product backlog is not that great. In this case, I want to do more refinement meeting with the team and enhance the health of the product backlog by more refinement meetings and ensure that we are getting more story points for the work items in the product backlog. By doing that, you will be able to see that 18 will increase to maybe 40. If we do maybe another 1 hour or 2 hours also, I will come and explain the details. But definitely 18 will increase. When 18 will increase, 45 will also increase to some more number, right? So this is how you need to plan your backlog refinement meeting. Please do not say that every week I will have 1 hour backlog refinement. I will have 2 hours backlog. You should have some logic behind that, right? Why are we doing 1 hour? Why not more hours? Why can't we skip that? We should know that when to skip and when to have more meetings, right? Okay, so all this is fine. Why are we talking about this backlog health. If it is 0 also, what is the big problem? Because every week I'm doing, no? Consider some scenario like in the month of December. Many organizations may have shut down, and many would have taken long vacations because December is the month people take long vacation. How will you run your refinement? You cannot run the refinement because your team is completely not available. We have only 1 or 2 people, and it will not give any kind of benefit if you have the meeting also. Now, if you are completely dependent on, okay, last week I will do the refinement and this week I will do the execution. If that way, if you go, what you will do in the month of January when team is coming up after their vacation, you will have trouble, right? Okay, this is one scenario that may happen once in a while, right? In the month of December, you can manage it. What will happen? Situations like what we have never expected, like COVID. There are situations we are not feeling well. I want to take leave. 2-3 people are taking leave at one shot in your team as sick leave. This is very unexpected, very unfortunate, but it's happening. What can we do in that situation? We need to be ready to face that situation, right? We cannot say that, no, I have no team to do the refinement, so I cannot start the sprint. You cannot give that answer. So you should be ready with your backlog anytime. If any situation comes, you should have a good backlog which is available. When I say good backlog, what is that good backlog means? And many of you would have got that question. Why always she is telling twice of average velocity? Why only average velocity? Because, for example, in situations like if your team is not available this week for refinement, or maybe because of your pressure in the deliverable, you are unable to sit for the refinement. Team is telling, no, I cannot make any time in this week. The reason is the completely things are need to be managed for the delivery that we are going to release for MVP. We don't have time. Please do not disturb us. You should respect that, right? Because we should understand that situation. We cannot say, no, we should plan for the future. That's how it should be. No. So how are we preparing for those kind of situations? Thing is, here comes the average velocity and its beauty. The reason is average velocity is something that you have identified. At least that much level of story points your team will be definitely committing every sprint, right? Which means in your backlog, 20 story points are already refined and available, means even this week or next week, your refinement is not happening. Upcoming sprint, you are safe because you have items on your product backlog. You no need to really worry. Now, next level, let's go. Is it good always to keep only one sprint as safety mechanism? No. Always it is good to have 2 sprints as a safety mechanism. That's why we are planning twice the average velocity. Always ensure your backlog is having that many number of story points as refined. That means even then, if you are not able to perform backlog refinement for 2 sprints, still you are safe. It doesn't mean that take this practice in between to skip the backlog refinement. That should not be the reason. Only in emergency situations when you cannot have, because of any reason, like your team is unavailable or your team is unavailable because of the deliverable that they need to proceed. In those situations, you may need to skip these kind of meetings or you need to postpone. In such ways also, your team is not getting affected. So it's always safe. You are ready with 2 sprint backlog items available in your product backlog already refined. That is nothing but twice the average velocity. Now I think everyone would have got the connection. When I said PI, program increment for safe, it is what the value that you take it in your entire PI, twice of that. Why so? Because there the planning will be generally happening for your future PI, not only for your future sprint, it's for your future PI. In that case, if by chance your MVP is getting into very close and you don't have enough time to sit and refine your backlog for the upcoming PI, then also you should be able to run the show. That's how we will make it as part of the PI. Okay, so here it is sprint, there it is PI. It's ultimately the same, but as we see it in a different view in the safe, that's why we use the twice of the PA velocity, that is for the program increment. and not the sprint velocity. But don't confuse, it's all about the average velocity and twice of it. Okay. Now, okay, so in this case, it is just 45% and you need to increase it with the help of your backlog refinement meetings. Let's go to the second example. Here it is just 50%. It's slightly increased because I have story points which are available with only 20 story points which are available in my product backlog which are refined, but my expectation is 40. But one good thing is I am safe for one sprint, one upcoming sprint. I'm safe without refinement. Also, I'm safe. But is that fine? Not fine. The reason is that alone will not be a good reason for you to consider from the product backlog. You should still do at least twice the average velocity, which means for 2 sprints, you should be ready with your backlog. Now, third example, this is 100%. Okay, so you have 2 sprint items already available in your backlog, which are already refined. That means you are in a very good shape to manage the upcoming 2 sprints, even without a single hour of backlog refinement. Okay, now comes the question, oh, if this is the case, then what I will do, I will make it 300% or 400% at the beginning of my sprints because I have more time. And after that, I will not do refinement. Is that a good practice? Not at all a good practice. The reason is what we actually do in practical scenarios, our requirements will be keep changing. Our things have uncertainties. Our things undergo a lot of changes. So you do something and freeze it in first 2-3 months and say that my product backlog health is 300%. So I am not going to conduct any refinement meeting. That will lead to a lot of scope changes during your sprint execution because you did something in last or maybe 2 months back, all the refinement, and after 3 months your team is sitting, there are chances that you will be able to see these kind of changes. In SAFe, in program increment, it is entirely different because the product roadmap and the way we categorize the PA itself is different. But in cases of what we use in day-to-day, the Scrum framework, we need to be really careful. Do not go so much as well. Like you fix a value like 120% is my maximum. Beyond that, we will not do. If we have, we will skip those refinement meetings because we have already achieved. Let's take a break from that. Okay, it's not necessary. That's what I said. It's not every time, okay, what is the frequency and what is the pattern of your backlog refinement meeting? Every Wednesday, 1 hour. No, it's not like that. So you should know when to have more, when to have less with the help of your average velocity. Okay. This will again change on sprint to sprint because your average velocity will be keep changing on sprint by sprint basis because average velocity will be calculated from the previous recent sprints that got completed. Right? So your PA backlog, the product backlog health, that indicator also will be keep changing based on your average velocity. So every sprint, I don't know what are the metrics that you are covering. It is always recommended, please add this product backlog health indicator. This will give you a very good clarity whether I need to commit so many items or I need to focus on my backlog refinement also. Without this indicator, no one will be able to understand why are you asking for extra 3 hours for your backlog refinement. With this indicator, you can very well explain, see, this is a situation where we are in. I see this is a very alarming situation now. We may end up in something, a big problem if we are going through this. So please, let's plan the backlog refinement for extra 2-3 hours. You can help your PO, you can help your team to visually see this and make them understand that this is the problem, right? So this average velocity, how it is helping the product backlog health indicator, I think everyone would have understood. If any questions, please add it in the chat window. So now,
Selvi, we have reached almost 50 minutes of our session, Selvi. So can we take the remaining 10 minutes for questions, Selvi?
Yeah, I will complete at least one more topic, Arun, and then I'll come to the questions.
Sure, Selvi. So once you finish this, let us know so that we can start the questionnaire. Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. So product backlog health, you can maintain some, as I mentioned, you can maintain some legends here. what will be the best suitable option. Like if you want to go with 100 to 120, that is always the expected one. And if that is the case, you can even skip your refinement meetings for time being. And but you need to ensure that how you are managing in the upcoming sprints. So before skipping, you need to be really careful. And when it is 80 to 100, what is the color range and what are the things that you need to take care of? And 50 to 80, what are the things that you need to take care of? And if it is 50, you may need to increase your backlog refinement meetings much more. So these all are the things you will be able to learn with the help of this average velocity. Okay. And I don't know, like this topic again, it may take for another 10 minutes or maybe more than that. So I'll stop here. This is also more related. So I thought I'll pull this as well, because this is again with backlog refinement only. Okay, fine. We will take the questions.
We can continue all this tomorrow also, right? If you have the bandwidth,
Not,
because this is something very important to understand.
I'm not sure about tomorrow. On the
No,
case.
Okay, how much do you feel is pending?
So we have how
No,
to.
Parul, we should not be looking at that way, Parul. See, if you look at Scrum, right, it's all about empiricism. Everything about what you have learned so far. So from what you have learned so far, what questions you have, what you want to learn more, that is from your perspective, right? You have to put those forward. And see, getting another session, that's a big thing. So let's not get into that. So with this session, this what's that, session stops right now. We have the questionnaire now, so you are free to ask questions, you're free to give suggestions, but don't expect anything right away. Go ahead, Parul. Thanks.
Arun, we lost already 2 minutes out of 10 minutes.
I know, man, you don't like me to talk, but sorry about that. Go ahead, Rajesh. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go with the questions on whatever asked in the chat. So the first question is all about while in the process of calculating the velocity, let's suppose we are taking last 5 sprints to calculate velocity, but in third sprint, 3 people were on leave due to some emergency for 5 days each. I want people, Hassan, can you please explain on the last 5 sprints you are calculating the velocity? I got the point. Third sprint,
Yes, so basically, it is a new team. The team started to build up. So we have come up that we'll calculate the velocity from last 5 sprints. But in the third sprint, 2 or 3 people, let's suppose they were on leave for entire week. So how should we go on that particular scenario in order to calculate the velocity? Since this is the first time we are calculating the velocity, how should we go about it?
you should consider that, Hassan, because this is a practical scenario, right? Because your team will not have always the complete availability. They will often take leaves in between, planned leaves, sick leaves, anything will come in on their track. So your velocity when you are calculating, that's why velocity will keep on fluctuating. So you should be not considering, oh, I don't have my complete team available. So will this sprint be eligible for velocity calculation? Don't get into that doubt. It's completely eligible for your velocity calculation. The only catch is when you have situations like when you are unable to start the sprint. For example, your planning sprint is happening and you don't feel this should be considered as part of your velocity calculation, then I do understand that those sprints should be eliminated. That's why I said you have the team alignment to manage it. But in your case, you have started the velocity calculation. It's just a matter of your team not available for complete capacity as some have taken leave. It is very much understood and it should be considered, because this is what will happen in the future also, right?
Okay. I purposefully mentioned the entire week because sick leave 1 or 2 days or planned hardly 1 or 2 days will happen throughout the sprint, but entire week 3 people are on leave. So that is the reason, just come up with this question, but still got the answer that we should continue with whatever capacity the team is available, right?
Okay, yes,
Selvi?
correct. So
Okay, yeah, thank
consider
you.
that, and you should start considering this for your velocity calculation.
Velocity calculation. Okay, thank you, Selvi. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Okay, next question is from Arun. If velocity is not enough, should we start looking to acceleration also? This I have this slide in the next part, so I will skip this question, whether velocity can be improved. That's the question, I believe, right, Arun?
Yeah, thank you, Selvi. Yeah, please.
So next question is from Narinder. Should my team start calculating velocity? Still all team members. Should my team start team members allocation is not same. Narinder, can you please help me in?
Yeah, Selvi. So there are two scenarios. Number one, let's say my team is totally new, and just take an example that there are 10 team members. So 5 team members having once we will start a new team. So 5 team members having a great experience. So we will calculate just like their allocation is 100% for the sprint. So out of last 5, so 2 members, we are just considering that they will allocate for 50% because of their experience or domain knowledge. So some team members are totally new. They just completed their college and they are totally fresher. Okay. So rest of the team members, we are just the team is not assigning any allocation right now. They are at the 0 allocation because the agreement is, so let's say if some senior team member is joining first one sprint, we are not allocating anything, so 0% allocation, then next sprint 25, then 50, so 25% we are increasing if the team member is totally new. So first 2 sprints or 3 sprints we are not allocating anything, then after 2 sprints the allocation is 25%. So next 2 or 3 sprints, senior team members like TL and senior other developers or QA team members, they will just take the initiation that after 2 or 3 sprints, the team will discuss that now we can increase their allocation from 25 to 50. Then after a few sprints, 50 to 75, 75 to then 100. So this is just like the case in my team. So in that case, should we start looking on the velocity until all the team members will not reach up to the 100% allocation?
No, it's not necessary. We need to wait till the 100% allocation for everyone, Narinder, because this may be happening on and off, right? Because some of the new team member might be joining in between. So you cannot wait for the complete things to settle. Somewhere when your team is feeling, okay, this is the time to start our velocity metric, because you need to explain why we are capturing the velocity, because I have some more topics also to cover, but next session we will be covering, but you should explain that what is the purpose of this velocity calculation and how it is going to help us as a team. So it is not about 1 or 2 team members, it's all about the team. So as a team, what we are delivering, can this be considered for the average velocity? That's what I said. If your team is still in the ramp up stage, or they are still in the settling stage or in the preparation stage, either in the condition of new team members in a new project, or maybe the project is new, or the whole setup itself is new, whatever may be the condition, give them some time and ask them when is the right time for you people to start measuring this. Till that time, only keep on putting achieved story points. I had in my experience, for first 4 sprints, we were using this because we had new team members joining. The rapport between the team members need to get settled. They need to understand, and the product backlog refinements, and what is the product, getting the domain knowledge, understanding what is the way of working. Some people may be new to Agile, so they don't know how to execute this sprint level things. So all these things matter. So until and unless team is ready, do not go ahead. But there is no relation whether they are 50% or 100%, because this velocity is just going to help us throughout, because we are going to keep on getting the trend for your upcoming sprints also. So somewhere you need to start, but at the same time, this value will be increasing in your case, because it's 20% initially, then 50%, then 100%, your velocity graph will increase, which you have a very, very justifiable reason for that. So it's completely okay if you do not wait till 100%, but only when your team is ready and out of the preparation mode, please start focusing on capturing the velocity calculation.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Narinder. Okay, is predictability equal to forecast? In a way, yes, because as you have, I will give only one example what we have covered. We have some more scenarios to cover, but one scenario what we have covered is you are able to predict, or you are able to forecast what will be, how your product backlog health should look like, so that you don't have any kind of problem in your upcoming sprint execution. That's, you are able to forecast it with the help of your velocity, right? So here, in that case, forecasting is same as predictability. But when talking about the exact word called predictability, it has a huge difference than forecasting. Forecasting is just, okay, with weather forecast, right? It may or may not rain, same way. But prediction is something like, with your set of data what you have today, with the history of information what you have, you can even plan the whole product roadmap itself. If you have the same stabilized team what you have, and your team is settled and things are going smooth, like after 6 months you crossed your MVP, you are looking for your first official product release. In that case, with all the experience whatever you have till first release and till MVP and managing all those stuff, you will be very, very comfortable with the help of this average velocity to predict your overall roadmap. Okay, by this time, my team will enter into this stage. This time, my team will be ready for version 1.0. That's how you will be able to predict it. So forecast and prediction, according to me, it has a slight difference. But for average velocity point of view, average velocity gives us a forecast for certain factors, like for example, the product backlog health, and it also helps us in predicting the overall timeline or the product roadmap.
Thanks, Sylvie.
Thank you. Next question is from Arun. SM need not always ask team. There are scenarios where SM can detect some issue and ask team to look at it deeply. Once we start giving our story points in the sprint to stakeholders, why cheat the stakeholders? Why not give the number and the context? Arun, can you explain what is this question?
I forgot the context here. Let's go with the next questions here.
Okay. Next question is from Shravan. What if each team member have different capacity numbers while sprint planning? Of course, they will be having different capacity numbers. For example, I am available for 10 days and someone will be available for 8 days. But it is not about individuals' capacity, right? It's about team capacity, what we will be using for the sprint planning. So of course, every person will be having different capacity, but at the end of the day, what is your team's capacity? Because we don't commit the sprint goal as individual person. We commit the sprint goal, or we commit the sprint backlog as a team. So even though if there are different numbers, as a team, what is our capacity? Accordingly, we need to plan our sprint backlog.
Selvi, yeah, like you told, right? Shravan, can you explain more on this question, Shravan? Like Selvi told, it's a tricky thing. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, sure, Selvi. So basically, let's assume that it's a new project and a new team, and we are just starting up. So I'm a layman, and I do not know how to start with the the capacity planning and all. So I have something in my mind, and I just give the number, and there will be you would get different numbers from the different team members. So do we use any estimation technique, or how do we get all the team members in the on the same page or on the same ground?
Yeah, but Shravan, are you talking about planning poker or something where each person the same
t-shirt sizing, whatever? So how do we get to a point that the entire team can commit on this much of capacity planning?
Okay, so this is completely topic related to estimation, Shravan. So we have different estimation techniques. I think we will be covering estimation techniques also in future. But in a nutshell, how we can answer on this question is two ways of looking at it. One is you have a capacity for every individual in your team, And at the end, you will be coming up with your team's capacity, not from the individual. You will collect from individual, of course, but you will be having your team capacity. With that capacity, you will commit on the sprint backlog items. You are, as a Scrum Master, you should be having that capacity of your team on the day of your sprint planning to help and support your team. How many items that we can take it as part of the sprint backlog. And because sometimes we kind of like do over commitment, and sometimes, as I said, we will take neck to neck calls. So there you need to have a check with the help of this capacity. But the other question what you have mentioned on the estimation, it's a different topic altogether. So we will cover that as a separate topic, Shravan. Yeah.
I think we will close this one. I've taken the questions, Selvi.
Yeah, sure. That will help.
Yeah. So we will try to answer it in the group or in the next session, next daily session or daily call, something. We will plan that.
Sure, sure.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining, and we will let you know when is the continuation of this velocity discussion.
Can we get this recorded session?
Yeah, I will get it to you.
Sure.
Hey,
Thank you.
Rajesh, I will message you separately, man.
Sure.
I will arrange a separate session for Arun and Rajesh.